Welcome back to the channel. Tune in or ghost out. It's no secret that I'm unemployed. I've talked about this on my channel before and I have a video dedicated to it. And the only thing scarier than finding a job is figuring out how I'm going to cover my expenses for the month. While I spend way less than I did when I was working, my total costs aren't down to zero, so I still need to make some income. I know I'm not the only one in this position, so I want to share some ways that I cover my expenses. While these side hustles are not the most lucrative, they do help cover costs and they're relatively easy to get into. No need to pay a guru or take a course. The methods I'm going to tell you in this video can be done straight from your phone and for the most part require no effort other than research. You will need some startup capital, but not a lot. The first thing I can suggest is the visual arts. This one simple skill has helped me generate money for over 10 years at this point. This hustle that started off as a hobby picked up from my Call of Duty roots has continuously helped me through every part of my life. Whether it's saving up straight after high school or save for some last minute trips, this skill I highly recommend. And when I say a hobby rooted in Call of Duty, I truly mean that. The only reason I even learned how to do graphic design was so I could make myself a YouTube banner and clan logos. But all those nights on my shitty laptop trying to learn how to crop and mask certain things really paid off because the amount of people trying to make content or run brands today is insane and they need somebody to help get that branding right. Fast forward to the present and getting into graphic design is even easier today. Back then, I had to use a pirated version of Adobe CS6 just to have a chance at making my designs, but nowadays, all the features of Adobe products are found in free things like Canva or DaVinci, and the barrier to entry is almost non-existent. And just like every side hustle, it might be hard to start, but with YouTube Academy and some research, once you get your first customer, you're bound to get them hooked on your designs, and from there, you build a client list of people who are always going to turn to you to get some work done. It could range from $5 to $10, but having that consistently times X amount of people turns into enough to cover some of your bills. And I highlight how low effort it is. It's as simple as downloading a program and trying to mimic someone's art until you start making good art yourself. I don't recommend plagiarism, but if you're just starting something new, a good way to get better is see what the good people are doing already and mimic that to your best ability. In that process, you're bound to find your style and your touch that will keep the customers coming back to you. People really only want you to knock a couple boxes out of the park. Once you master some design principles, you'll have a side hustle that you can even make a career out of if you really wanted to. And I'm not just saying that. I do this as a side hustle, but I have a lot of friends who do this as a full-time job, running Etsy shops and selling designs all from their home. This side hustle is super scalable, and if you're socially awkward or just don't like your face attached to things, it's very easy to make a design alias and go from there. Number two, I would have to say start reselling books. I know that sounds weird, but just think about it. That's how Jeff Bezos became a billionaire. Amazon was founded on books, and guess what? They're still making money today. The only reason I found out about this is because of Reddit. While Reddit is so many things and more, sometimes you can find a lot of people on there who have very niche communities, and selling books was the one that I found. This side hustle isn't for the weak, and I don't mean rich, I just mean people without much time. While this side hustle is on the lower end of profit, averaging anywhere from $150 to $200 if you're lucky, the cost is low. Most of these books you find at your local thrift store or Goodwill, or even better yet at someone's garage sale, are probably going to cost you 50 cents to $1. And if you hit big on the right book, you could be getting 20 bucks from just that one book. You can see right now on some of these sites that actually resell these books that some of them are worth thousands of dollars. I've never been that lucky to find one, but the thing about books is you get them for so cheap and then you post them and forget about them, and next thing you know, you've sold 5 in a week. There's really no barrier to entry, there's no skill set required. If you do choose to get into reselling books, you have two options on how to get them off. You can either try to sell them locally. You'd be surprised how many people in your area are looking for a certain book or by an author. The other way is to post it directly on an Amazon sellers page. As long as you have a phone that can scan barcodes and look up products online to tell you the price, then you're pretty much game to start whenever. A good tip to know starting off is you can usually tell if a book is going to be worth any amount of money by the cover. The fancier the cover, probably the more money, and condition matters a lot as well. A beaten up book won't sell for as much as a clean book. Also, just be prepared to be drowning in women because they love a man who reads, and since you're going to be selling all these books, you're going to always have them around, so they're really good props to give off the illusion that you read these books. But just like me, you're very illiterate. Good thing you don't have to know how to read to count money. For the last money making method, this is probably going to be the most cost upfront of all the ones I've told you yet, and that is reselling retro video games or the systems themselves. themselves. In terms of cost, like I said, this one can be on the higher end, but it all depends on what system you're going for. You might have heard of this hustle before, and some people like to focus on either the games or the system themselves. I think it's good to get into both because a lot of the times on Facebook, a lot of these people selling games or consoles will give you a better deal if you just buy both at the same time. And with so many tools to see how much games go for or their systems, this is one that requires very little effort to learn about. And since most of us are gamers, we kind of know which games are sought after, but even if you don't, you could also just Google search that. The way I got into this was my cousin ended up giving me his GameCube, and no, I didn't sell it. I still have that GameCube. I couldn't do my cousin like that. But once I got it, I wanted to buy more games than the ones that he gave me, but I quickly realized some of the games that we played when we were younger were going for maybe 5 to 10 times the price of when they were sold new, and some of them were almost impossible to find, so if you could find them, you could basically set the market on them. I turned to Facebook Marketplace to see if I could get around the resale and get a cheaper version of the games, and surprisingly, I did. People on Facebook Marketplace a lot of the times are just trying to sell things quickly and they're not checking the price of what they're selling, and they're tweakers. Not everyone on Facebook is, but there are tweakers on Facebook Marketplace. I'd say they're your friendly tweakers, you know, don't put yourself in any situations that you could get hurt, but I promise you on Facebook, if you look, you can find a deal for a game that's going for a lot, and all you have to do is buy that game from them and resell it immediately to the game company or put it on eBay and wait a week. Many of you probably already have vintage video game collections stored in your house. I wouldn't sell those if I were you, but if you're looking at what games to get, seeing your own collection and what that's valued at is a good place to start and kind of see what the video game landscape is. A tip I can give for the ones wanting to get into this lane is to know when it's worth doing the extra work. Some people will recommend selling these games directly back to GameStop or whatever stores in your area, but I implore you to just look online and maybe sit on it while you post it on eBay. A lot of these games will sell more on eBay than they will to the dealer, and once you build up an eBay reputation, it's not hard to make sales. Just have good customer service and timely response and you're bound to gain customers quickly. When you've stepped away from the world of 9-to-5s, it is hard to learn how to make money with just yourself, and all the job applications that you're doing in the meantime to secure your next 9-to-5 can be pretty draining. But I promise, with a little creativity and thinking outside the box, there is money out here to be made. The worst thing about being unemployed or not having enough money is just the thoughts that go through your head. You're so stressed thinking about what you're going to do to make it or cover your rent. It makes everything seem so much worse than it actually is. But if we take a step back and a deep breath, look at the skills that we have in front of us and see how we can integrate those into our life, the road gets a lot less scary. These are just some of the side hustles that I've turned to and been turning to. If you have any side hustles that would help someone watching this video, please drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear your guys' insight on this topic. If you haven't dropped a like already, please go ahead and hit that like button. And a subscription does more for me than you could ever know. Thank you for tuning in, and till next time.
Transmission complete. Signal terminating. This is Ghostthread, signing off.